Hello everyone, this is Sci-Fi and welcome to the Global Central Toy Review. And today's I'll be looking at the 2011 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe celebrating the 30th anniversary action figure review. And today's action figure review, we're looking at Wave 4 of Seymour quote and unquote Sci-Fi Flying, the Elite Combat Trooper. Now, I got this straight from eBay by buying the whole Wave 4 set, and this only cost me $10, which is a little bit pricier than the retail pricing, but I'm still alright with it. Now, let's take a look at the front portion of packaging itself. Here on one corner, we have a very nice artwork of the 30th anniversary version of Sci-Fi, which is very nice. He's very shiny looking, as you can see there, with the helmet and the chest armor there. Very nicely done. Inside the plastic bubble, we have the Sci-Fi figure. On one arm, the left arm there, is strapped with the laser rifle. Next to him is the alternated full face helm. And here's the power hose itself. Then we have the backpack. And behind the figure, there's the base stand. As you can see that there's no catalog behind the base stand, which is very good. Now at the back portion of the packaging, we have a full image of Sci-Fi artwork here, very nice. And here we have the rest of the lineup. The first one will be the 30th anniversary Seymour quote and unquote Sci-Fi Flying, which we are reviewing today. The Renegades Law and Order, Renegades Kurt quote and unquote Airtight Schner, 30th anniversary Edwin quote and unquote Lifeline Steen, 30th anniversary Zombie Viper, 30th anniversary Techno Viper, Renegades Storm Shadow, Renegades Cobra Trooper or Cobra Security Trooper, and finally Renegades Cobra Commander. Now at the bottom is his profile card. We have a nice G.I. logo on the top there, and here the stated code name Seymour quote Sci-Fi unquote Fine Elite Combat Trooper. Here we got a nice image of Sci-Fi there with a G.I. Joe stamp seal on the top. Name Seymour P. Fine. Now, I don't understand why would his parents would actually name him that way, Seymour P. Fine, if you're that immature enough. It's rather funny actually. Grade E-4 bracket specialist. Birthplace Geraldine, Montana. Primary weapon L-LAT, which is acronym stands for Laser Assault Targeting Weapon. Combat gear, removable helmet, helmet with blast shield, power hose, power source backpack, and what's interesting to note is that it actually has two more other items, support rifle and an argon burst laser rifle, which is not found in the packaging itself. Now, in the write-up itself, it stated, Sci-Fi is a laser trooper who is a master of precision and patience. A laser weapon requires someone who can hold his position for an extended time. Sci-Fi is perfect for the job because he's a slow-moving, easygoing guy and experienced marksman. He can keep perfectly still as the laser burns through enemy weapon systems in a continuous burst beam. Very, very nice. So, without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the figure. Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. Now, let's take a look at Sci-Fi's accessories here, starting off with the base stand. Now, it comes with a nice little base stand here that's based on the 25th anniversary style with a nice little G.I. logo on the top with two pegs for the figure to stand on. Nameplate there stated Sci-Fi, and at the bottom section of the base stand stated at 2007 Hasbro made in China. Now, Sci-Fi here don't come with a lot of accessories, as you can see on the corner here. There's only a handful of accessories, but some of them are really well detailed stuff. Let's take a look at the laser rifle. Now here we have the laser rifle here made of a, I would say, a little bit bronze, but mostly metallic plastic material color. There's a bit of paint job involved on the rifle itself. Here we have a little bit of light gold paint job for the targeting sights at the barrel here, and at the power connector here is painted a little bit of red. Very nicely done. Now for the entire rifle's mold, this is all new mold. Very detailed stuff. We have the barrel itself. At the end of the barrel there's a bit of well, the barrel, it's the larger barrel. The targeting sight is found on this section here. At the bottom section of the barrel itself, we have the laser sight. Here we have the scope just above the body itself. The back portion here we have the stock. Here we have, well, the power connector here. You have a smaller peg. You have to use the power hose to connect to the peg itself. There's also quite a number of nice details on the body, but you will notice there's also tiny little rivets found on the body itself and a lot of panelings found on the body. Here we have a small little handle with a tiny little trigger. However, the figure have a problem wielding the laser rifle because due to the bulkiness of the arms itself for Sci-Fi. On the other side of the rifle, you have this large protruding peg, but the flat end of the peg itself, near the end of the peg itself, there's a bit of mechanical details just to make it look a bit more realistic. And this peg is meant to plug in at the side of the backpack, which is very nicely done. I really like the colors being applied onto the rifle because it looks a bit realistic. Very nice. However, the figure have a problem wielding it properly. Next we have the power hose, which is made of a black plastic material color, which you can find this power hose, the same power hose, in the Techno Viper's, well, accessory. You connect one end of the hose to the rifle and the other end to the backpack. Then we have two of his helmets, both made of a silver plastic material color. Both is mostly the same mold, except one is full face, the other one is partially revealed. First, let's take a look at the colors itself. The visor is painted in black, glossy black too. Top section of the helmet itself is painted in, well, lime green. However, for this section here, the edges is painted in black. Very nice. Now the mold for the helmet is all nail stuff. Very nicely done with the details. There's a lot of linings at the visor itself. Even the top section is quite nicely done. At the bottom section of the edges here, there's also a bit of details as well. But here, you will notice there's a communication device at the corner here. There's a lot of technical details at the back portion of the helmet. Just this section here, very nice. What I really don't like is the burn cut found in this section here. It's not really well done for the quality control. For the full face helmet, is basically the same, except it's, well, full face, and you don't get to see a bit of details on the edges of the side of the visor itself, because one's full face, the other one is partially revealed. Then we have his power backpack. As you can see, the power backpack here is quite familiar in mold because they actually use the 25th anniversary of the Battle Armor Cobra Commander's backpack, but they heavily retooled the entire backpack to make it look like a new mold. Very nice. There's a bit of paint job, which is similar. First, the body itself is actually, well, the same color as the rifle, so there's a bit of, well, same color paint job as the rifle as well. There's a bit of red paint job on this section here. Even the peg is also painted with red, not too sure why, because that's the peg that you have to connect the power hose with. At the bottom section, there's also a light gold paint job also on this section as well. There's a lot of nice mechanical details found on this section. Very nice. There's also ventilation on the top here as well. On the side, as you can see, here we have a peg to plug in at the back of the figure. The other end of the backpack is all hollowed out, but not too sure why they actually do this stuff. This circular hole here. On this section, you have a smaller slot. Here you are meant to plug in the laser rifle for storage. Finally, we have his body armor made of a silver plastic material color with a bit of paint job. The shoulder pads is painted in glossy black with silver linings, as you can see, very nice. The straps from the top that goes all the way at the bottom is painted in dark gray. Here is painted in black. The bottom section of the buckle here is painted in black, along with a little bit of red paint job. And the mold for the body armor is all nail stuff, as you can see here, very nicely done. I really like the details of the straps itself and shoulder pads, but what I really like is the colors they applied for the body armor, because the plastic material color, for the silver plastic material color, makes it look like it's metallic. Furthermore, the mold for the body armor is quite nicely done, because there's a bit of battle damage on the armor itself. There's bullet scarring and scratches. Very nice. Here we have the peg to connect to this point here, and for the figure to wear the armor is quite easy, but you have to remove the head first. Now let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now majority of the parts that you see for the figure itself, Sci-Fi's body is, well, mostly not painted. Now the torso and the abdomen area is mostly not painted. It's made of a lime green plastic material color. The neck joint is actually painted in dark gray. And for the lower abdomen area here, the belt is actually a separate piece, but the belt is actually painted in, well, glossy black, along with a silver paint job on the buckle. The head, surprisingly enough, is actually made of a lime green plastic material color. Oops, and luckily it didn't fall off the table, but there you go. The head is actually made of a lime green plastic material color, and the entire head is actually painted, which is very nice. Side of the head is actually painted in dark gray. From the top all the way to the back is painted in a white paint job, a dull white paint job. Flesh tone skin is painted, a little bit of tan there. Eyebrows and the pupil is painted in black. The eyes is painted in white. Very nice. Now for the arms itself, again, just like the body, the upper bicep and the lower arms is made of a lime green plastic material color. However, the straps and the elbow pads and the forearm guard here is painted in black. However, the forearm guard is also painted with a little bit of silver, as you can see that. The hands is actually painted in, well, glossy black, but it's made of a black plastic material color. The wrist guard here, you can see, or the forehand guard here, is actually painted silver at the edges, but inside is painted a little bit of metallic blue. The ties itself is not painted at all, made of a lime green plastic material color. However, the charges, this charger packs found on the ties itself is a separate piece made of a silver plastic material color, or at least, well, dull metallic plastic material color, dull bronze plastic material color, but it's actually painted in green, and the lower legs is not painted at all, except for this section here, just below the knees, is painted in lime green. Very nice. The colors is actually quite well done. It's not as, well, dark green compared to the old, well, vintage 80s Sci-Fi figure. This one is more lime green, and I actually like the color. It's not too bright, but it's also, it doesn't deviate away too far from the original figure's colors. Well, a little bit, but not that far off. Now let's take a look at the figure's mold. Now surprisingly enough, some of the parts are reused. Most of the parts, well, are retooled, and some parts are actually new molds. First of all, the torso, the abdomen area, or the waist area, and the thighs and knees are actually reused molds from the 25th anniversary of Snow Serpent. Who would have guessed? Now, the lower arms is actually retooled. Yes, retooled from the, well, heavily retooled from the Pursuit of Cobra Jungle Viper, or the Pursuit of Cobra Low Light. Also a little bit of resemblance to the Techno Viper for the 30th anniversary, but it's heavily retooled. The hands, however, is actually from the Jungle Viper, but also retooled as well, because they added this, well, this forehand guard there. The upper bicep and the lower legs are new parts, so does the head sculpt here. They are actually new parts. This connector point here is actually a separate piece. You can actually pull it out, but I suggest you not to. It's actually a separate piece that plugs in onto the tires itself. Now, what's funny about this charger and the wiring itself, the original figure based on the 80s do not even have this wiring strapped onto the lower legs itself. At least it's not molded on. So I'm not too sure why they do this, but it does look really nice, and it does not hinder the articulation. Now, the torso's mold here is nothing that special. It's basically based on the Snow Serpent, but the arms itself is quite nicely done with the details of the mold. You've got the shoulder pads, the pouches, the elbow padding, the padding for the forearm there, very nicely done. Not too sure why they do the, well, charger on the thighs that connects to the lower legs there, but it's still very nicely done. You got the armor legs as well. What really cheeses me off about the legs itself, because due to the design of the knee itself, the Snow Serpent knee, and the design of the lower legs, because of the knee guard there, the figure cannot stand straight. It tends to bend a little bit, as you can see there. It bends a little bit, it doesn't stand all the way straight, so that's a bit problem there. The belt mode is actually quite nicely done. There's a lot of pouches on the side, very nice. What I really like is the new head sculpt, very nicely done with the head sculpt there, quite detailed stuff. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The head cannot pivot up and down, side to side at all, but can turn 360 degrees. Torso here can move forward a little bit, back a little bit, side to side, and turn 360 degrees. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. Elbow joints that bends this far, straight, and turn 360 degrees. Now the wrist joints are quite interesting. It can swivel 360 degrees, but it has a hinge joint that actually pivots downwards and upwards. But due to the bulkiness of the lower arms itself, you don't actually bend that far up. On the other side of the wrist is also the same joint. It bends down and up. It doesn't go in and out. So posing the figure holding a rifle is a little bit tricky. Hip joints here can move forward, back a little bit to the sides. Double jointed knee that bends only this far, and ankle joint here that pivots downwards a little bit, upwards, and turn 360 degrees. You will also notice the ankle joint is a little bit bent as well. Now let's fully equip Sci-Fi with all the accessories, starting off with the body armor itself. Now the figure don't come with a lot of accessories, but the accessories is quite nicely done with the details. The problem is that the figure has some little bit annoyances, like the legs that don't actually, well, straighten up. The hands is a bit too bulky for him to wield the rifle properly. First we will put this rifle into his hand. As you can see, the stock itself kept on popping away from the hand itself, because due to the bulkiness of the hand and the lower arms there. Then we connect the hose like so. As you can see, it just keeps on popping off. So it's one of the most frustrating thing to have the figure hold the rifle properly while falling off from his hand, because of the bulkiness of the hand itself. And the hose just popped off. See, it doesn't actually hold properly. It's one of the things that I really don't like. Have him stand on the base stand. Now, if I'm gonna give a rating for Sci-Fi here, he is a little bit problematic with the hand and the legs there, and posing the figure is also problematic with the hands unable to hold properly on the rifle. But if I'm gonna give a rating out of this, I'll give it a nice 8 out of 10. Yes, 8 out of 10 for Sci-Fi here. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.